Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we're going to continue working from Tanya Holland's Brown Sugar Kitchen, and we're going to be making something that I am positive my children are going to love because we're making bourbon and chili glazed salmon. We're finally going to do like an entree dish from here, but this seems really, really simple and my kids love salmon. So I already have the Pools Diner mac and cheese ready to go into the broiler, and this also uses the broiler, so they're perfect to make together. So you just do one and then do the other and it'll be great. So I'm super excited about our dinner tonight. I think it'll be delicious. 2 recipes for the channel from great cookbooks. Now, the first thing for us to do is to make the glaze. So I have some honey here. You see some green in here, that's just from the lime zest we're gonna use later. The honey that I am using is some barrel-aged honey, bourbon barrel-aged honey that I had, that I got from a Christmas box that had a bunch of bourbon-y things in it. And so I thought that would be perfect for this recipe. And then I saw that this little card that came on it has a honey glazed salmon recipe on the back. A little bit different than this, but and then we have the bourbon. I'm just using our standard not too expensive mixed bourbon because I figure this is going to be fine with that. And now we're going to add the seasonings. I have chili powder. This is quite a lot of chili powder, but bourbon and chili glazed salmon. I have some ground ginger and some lime zest. Those were approximately equal amounts of that. Then we also have approximately equal amounts of just salt and freshly ground pepper. And then we have lime juice. So I just zested it and then used some of the juice. And there we go. And I have my teeny weeny itsy bitsy whisk that I'm going to mix this all together with. I have my broiler preheating because, like I said, this only uses the broiler. Actually, it's already heated. And that seems pretty well mixed. So I'm going to put this over here to the side and clean up a little bit, and then I'm going to show you my salmon. Okay, so I have a fresh skin on salmon fillet, which is what this calls for. And she calls for 4 6-ounce portions for this. I have enough for about 6 of those portions. I think we'll have enough glaze for everything. I think that'll work out okay. I didn't make extra. So I'm just gonna slice these into approximately 6-ounce portions. We'll see. Go. All right, I'm gonna just put the salmon fillets on a sheet pan that has aluminum foil on it because this glaze will stick and burn on, I'm sure. Now this still had a few scales on it. I'm not too concerned about that because I don't think we'll actually be eating the skin. Since we're not really crisping it up, it's not going to be a delicious salmon skin. Crispy, when you pan sear that salmon skin, we really love, but I think this probably won't be that. But there we go. I have 6 fillets. I'm gonna clean up a little bit and show you what we do next. Okay, I'm just gonna give my glaze a little bit of a stir to make sure it's still, there's no honey on the bottom, because that is something that happens. It separates rather easily, but it seems pretty good. I'm just gonna put that here right now. And we just spoon this over top of the fillets. We'll be wanting to use all of this, so I'm not really worried about cross-contamination of the glaze here. And a lot of it's going to drip down, so that's why I think that we'll be fine for 6 fillets instead of just 4. My kids will eat a lot of salmon. I think that was all, that's all pretty covered, and that is the extent of what we need to do to prep this. And I'm not going to show you how to cook this. I'm just gonna, because really I'm just gonna put this in the oven in the broiler, as close to the broiler as I can, 6 to 8 inches, I think she says, about 6 inches away. So I just have it on the, have my, my rack on the top setting, and we're gonna broil it for about 8 minutes. So these pieces are the size that she says. So I think it'll take about 8 minutes. She says until it's no longer opaque in the center. So I'll let you know how long it takes, but I'm just gonna stuff these in the broiler and then we'll have dinner. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make bourbon and chili glazed salmon from Tanya Holland's Brown Sugar Kitchen cookbook. I loved this method. It was really fast. The salmon was delicious. It took a little bit longer for me than hers for it to be sort of the temperature that I thought I was going for. I think I ended up cooking mine for 12 minutes. Probably would have been okay at 10 minutes. We like our salmon kind of medium. It was not too overdone, but maybe slightly. I used my thermometer, my instant read thermometer, just to check to make sure it was done all the way through, or done to our preferred temperatures. The chili powder, I was a little concerned about it being too spicy, especially for the children. When I opened the oven the first time, after 8 minutes, I opened it to check. It kind of hurt my eyes. It was kind of like, not chopping onions, but the equivalent of chopping onions, but really spicy things. But generally spicy things don't get up in your eyes when you're chopping them, generally. But it was kind of like that. It made my eyes water pretty bad with all of the chili powder in it. I will definitely use this method again. The kids, I don't think, really loved the flavors of it. For me, I think I needed a little more salt, but my salt is, as I've said many times, the salt that I use is generally slightly less salty by volume than other kosher salts. I don't believe she says what kind of salt she uses in here. The other book that we recently started does, which I find very helpful because it helps me sort of adjust the salt level to our preferences a little bit easier, or at least to the values that the salt value that the recipe has. Anyway, I'm babbling. So I really like this method and I will use it again. I will probably change up the flavors a little bit just to suit our preferences. This recipe, I thought needed a little bit more salt for us. Maybe my salt was, not as salty as hers, who knows? Maybe we just prefer a slightly saltier end result. And my husband said it could have done a lot better with a little bit of acid, a little bit of a sauce. We happen to have some salsa on the table from a previous snack, and he thought it was really good with some of that. So maybe even a fresh salsa on top would be delicious with this, I think. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make this, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and come back and watch me make something else next week.